And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Thursday, January 14th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thursday morning. We're glad to have you with us. And I'll just tell you right off here, you want to stay with us this morning. We're going to have Congressman John Rose on the first half this morning, and Sergeant P.J. Hardy, whose normal time is the first half, will be here for the second. And, of course, on Thursdays, we talk about Bates Ford. Our two favorite people from Bates Ford are here this morning. That would be Paul Tubbs, the dealer operations manager, and Ronnie Kelly, who's been in sales for at least 33 years. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Well, I guess, Paul, you get us started here this morning. If you want to talk about cars or trucks or service or golf, any of it is permissible.
I think I better talk about cars and trucks. But one of the things I'd like to say is we've got the new 21 F-150 that's come in. Me and Ronnie's looked at it and had a couple of customers, and we're actually starting to get some inventory in for our lot. That these trucks are amazing. They've redesigned them. They've got a huge screen, looks like a huge iPad you got stuck on the dash, but they're amazing. We're starting to get a lot more new inventory in. We've got a couple of old age units that I'm trying to get rid of. So we've got a mass of things going on right now.
Well, Ronnie, what about you? What do you want to talk about the most this morning?
We want to talk about the nice vehicle that we have. Like, Paul, like he was saying, we got 21s coming in, and we got some old age units. We got a couple of units that's great units right now. We got an EcoSport, a 19, brand new. And I think Paul kind of lost his mind. It's 24.9, and he got it down to 18,450, and that's taking over $6,000 off of that vehicle. We also have a 19 Expedition. It's a nice limited, and that vehicle is $70,755. And he went crazy and took $9,000 off of that vehicle. So you can buy that vehicle for $61,755 plus tax. That's a great deal. And if you come down today, it'll be a great time to pick up a savings on those vehicles.
All right.
Those are our two oldest age units that we got on the lot. And, every year you get, when you deal with hundreds and hundreds of cars, you get these vehicles that, just sit there. And unfortunately, so Ford gives us promotional money, and I've actually thrown the kitchen sink at it because I do need to get rid of my last two 19 vehicles because I got 20s on the lot and 21s starting to come in. But that Expedition, we're actually taking probably a $7,000 loss just to get rid of it. Of course, Ford provides us with promotional money where we can apply that towards that. So, when we get these units, it's been there, and the EcoSport is if somebody's looking for a real cheap SUV. It's a smaller SUV, but it's a great gas saver. Them things get 30 miles to the gallon. And that Expedition, actually, if I probably should have bought it because I got my wife a black 20 that almost is identical to it. And it's a black on black. It's got the black wheels. It's a real pretty Expedition, limited, loaded out. And you're not going to find one of them for $60,000. So that's and if somebody comes down there today and wants to buy that thing, I'll sell it for $60,000 plus tax, title, and license. So that's taking about probably somewhere around $10,000 that we're going to take off of the actual cost of the vehicle.
Paul, this is the most exciting I've seen you be about cars in a long time.
No, I know. I need to get. I tell you what. I thought about that black Expedition this morning. I need to get my old buddy Judd Sellers. That would be a great funeral home. Somebody that has all these funeral homes. But the problem with Judd is he's so tight. I'm not sure I could ever. Probably have to call Brother Danny and get Brother Danny involved in this situation. But that'd be a great Judd Sellers vehicle as well.
If somebody doesn't beat him to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Ronnie, anything else you want to say about cars and trucks and vehicles this morning?
Yes, we have a lot of pre-owned automobiles also, and we got several cars under $10,000. So it's time to come out. It'll be a great savings on those vehicles today. And right now also, when we need automobiles, if you have anything that you want to turn into cash that you're not using at home, bring it down to Bates Ford, because we the dealer that will trade for anything that don't eat.
Anything that don't eat, and you need vehicles.
Yes.
So now you might get a little bit more for them now than you would if you had plenty.
Yes, our used car manager stepping up on trade-ins. They're giving more money for them right now because we need them.
All right, well, don't forget cheapest oil change in town. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we've got a great, service department. That's the backbone of the dealership. We got that $24.95 oil change that we're doing. We've got the batteries right now for $134.95. Of course, Ford will always meet or beat anybody's price on tires. So, we've got tires. We probably have the cheapest installation. I've seen some of our competitors charge $20 a tire. We charge 10. And so if you buy the tires, we put them on for $40. And also, we don't, do all the hidden charges where you put the weights and all the stuff that a lot of people do. We charge $10 a tire to put them on, and we also provide free rotation for the life of the tires. So, we're very competitive in the tire business. I had a guy come in yesterday and had some quotes from other places, and we were about $40 cheaper. And he said, I never dreamed a Ford dealer would be cheaper and, discount some other places on tires. And I said, when Ford purchases all these tires to put on these brand new vehicles, they got a lot of leverage to be able to buy tires. So, they can get in the tire market, and we've gotten into it very heavy. So if you're thinking about tires or batteries, brakes, or any of that kind of stuff, just come see us at Bates, because we're generally cheaper and more competitive than anybody in town.
All right. Well, you've heard it, and your hours. We might mention that real quickly here.
Sales is open 8 to 7 Monday through Friday, and 8 to 6 on Saturday. And service department's 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, and 8 to 1 on Saturday.
All right. We all have a great week, great weekend, great first of the week. We'll see you next Thursday and do it again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Paul Tubbs, Dealer Operations Manager, and we have Ronnie Kelly in sales. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main in Lebanon, the dealer that'll trade for anything it don't eat. Well, we're 10 minutes after the hour, and Congressman John Rose has already called in and checked in about 8 minutes ago, and we're expecting him to call any moment now, and we'll find out what's been going on in Washington. Have a first eye view, I guess, this morning. But Ray Render, who is his assistant for our area here, is with us this morning. Ray, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Walker. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and it is good to see you. You haven't been in Washington, but no doubt you've talked with the congressman, and you know some of the things that have happened, and maybe have heard a little bit from him already.
Well, it has been an interesting few weeks here, and I'm certainly he's going to talk to you about that today if that's what you would like to talk about. So, yes, it's if you've asked to live in interesting times, we're living in interesting times. So.
What have you been doing mostly for him since he's been there for 2 years and was reelected for another 2-year term. You've been with him, I guess, from the beginning as his career as a congressman, right?
Yes, that's correct. So in the district, we take care of a lot of folks that need, wherever you intersect with the federal government. It could be Social Security, it could be Veterans Administration, it could be passport expedition, anyway, a lot of different things where you might touch the federal government. We're there to help you. So Kim Mash is our caseworker in the Gallatin office. So from this part of the district, feel free to call us in the Gallatin office. If you live on the east side of the district, he does have an office in Cookeville. Feel free to call you could call either office is fine, but we're a little more local. So we're here to help any way we can with constituent services throughout the district.
Well, I know that there are a lot of course, we don't have as many social gatherings now, but when we have one and when we have in the past, you've usually been there kind of as his representative. You have your ear to the ground as to what's going on in this district, and especially in Wilson County, I think.
Well, we try to listen to the voice of the constituent. That's what we do as well. You're right. So a lot of times the congressman will get invited to many events, and his job takes him to Washington, D.C. a lot of the time, so he's not able to go. So, yes, I will show up, or possibly Rebecca Foster over on the east side of the district will show up.
Well, we're here. Here we go. I believe he is calling in right now, and I think we're about ready to go to the phone here when I get the signal. I trust this is Congressman Rose, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the phone. Congressman, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Walker. How are you?
I'm doing well, and we want to know how you're doing. Hope you're safe and sound to start out with.
Well, I think so. It has been an interesting couple of weeks, and I'm in the process of traveling back, so sorry for the delay in joining you this morning.
Well, only a couple of minutes there. We got to talk to Ray for a minute. He is one of your right-hand men, maybe number one right-hand man, as far as I'm concerned, because I see him quite often. I think he does a great job for you, and we appreciate him being here to to assist this morning. But let's talk. I don't want to dwell on this, but we got to go to a break here in a couple of minutes. Tell us, last Wednesday, you were having a session and all this started. What tell us this from your point of view, your perspective.
Sure. Well, you're talking about the constitutionally and statutorily mandated process of completing the 2020 presidential election. It happened on January 6th. That's set forth in statute. And the process is that in joint session, the Congress opens the electoral votes from the many states and counts those votes. And that process allows for objections to be raised by members of the House and the Senate. And so I joined in objecting with a number of members of the House to the results in 6 of the states. Unfortunately, on the Senate side, only 2 objections, or only objections with respect to 2 of the states' electoral votes were raised. And when an objection both from the House and Senate is raised, then we proceed to debate the reasons that one we might consider with respect to whether or not to certify the results from each state for which an objection has been raised.
What was it? Was it difficult for you to do this, to want to object, or did you feel that there was election fraud?
Well, we studied, and I think election fraud may be the wrong term to use, but both I and the members of my staff studied this question carefully. I will tell you that vote was not an easy vote because it's a very weighty issue. But after careful consideration of what the Constitution lays out and what the 12th Amendment says, and then what the Electoral Count Act of 1887 says, we ultimately concluded that the objection process was set forth in statute and contemplated, and that there was a basis in the 6 states for which we objected for questioning the outcome of the election. And the reason for that is the Constitution, squarely places the responsibility for determining how states cast their votes for the election of president and vice president in the hands of the many state legislatures. And so in the 6 states that we challenged, we felt like the laws enacted properly by the state legislatures in those states had not been followed. And I think there is substantial evidence of that. And then if you look kind of beyond that to the count of the popular vote in those states, we see what I would kind of describe as statistical anomalies that would say that the changes that were made by those other than the legislators in those various states actually did impact the outcome of the election. And I think time will prove that to be true. Now, there's much dispute about whether those changes were called for or whether they were appropriate, but nonetheless, those changes in those states were not enacted by the legislatures of those states.
All right, it is time for us to take a break. So hold on there, Congressman Rose. We've got a lot more to talk about, but now this break here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:19. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota and Rental. They have Exmark, large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand, about 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. They're located at 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's picked up even more so here in the last few minutes coming through Mount Juliet right now on I-40. Spring Street and Jefferson Street, we saw that wreck being cleared there at Antioch Pike at Jansing. Hopefully that'll be moved in just a few more minutes as traffic's on the increase out here in the last 10-15 minutes trying to get around this stalled vehicle on I-24 westbound up by Haywood Lane. Check out the Andre Chicken Sandwich now available at Princess Hot Chicken, 5814 Nolensville Pike. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Defensive drivers pay attention to their surroundings. They take precaution to keep their passengers and others on the road safe. We can all be defensive drivers during COVID-19 pandemic. Today, I ask you to take the necessary precautions to keep yourselves and others safe from COVID-19. Wash your hands, social distance, wear a mask, stay at home when you're sick. Living a cautious life doesn't mean that you live in fear. It just means that you care for others. Wilson County cares. This has been a public service announcement from the Wilson County Mayor's Office.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us on the phone with us this morning. Congressman John Rose, we want to continue. Could you tell us just a little bit about what happened? I think you were in session when the people tried to crash the Capitol building and all that took place. Tell us a little bit about that, if you will. We don't want to dwell on it the whole time, but I think people would like to know where you were, what you were thinking, the safety provisions, and all of this.
Sure. So last Wednesday, January the 6th, a week ago, I was actually on the House floor, and we had begun, of course, the joint session of Congress, the Senate and House meeting together to take up the question of certification of the election, and we had gotten to the first state, opening the votes from the first state, in this case, Arizona. And there had been an objection raised by both the Senate and the House, and so the procedures dictate that we separate at that point, and each House debates separately those objections. And so we had begun that process of debating the objection to the Arizona electoral votes, and we're a few minutes into it when the excitement began, and you know, the first signal I had, of course, we had been receiving security alerts throughout the day, but the first awareness I had that there was a real issue came when they escorted the Speaker of the House and then the Majority Leader, Representative Steny Hoyer from Maryland, off the House floor, and then later they began to lock down the House, closing the doors, and then later we heard pounding at the doors. We thought that first pounding, based on reports that we were hearing, might be the protesters, but it turned out to be Capitol Police and members of the Sergeant-at-Arms staff who were essentially in retreat from the crowd, that the rioters that had entered the Capitol. And so then subsequently, the rioters did arrive at the door, and you may have seen the pictures of the kind of armed standoff with the security officers pointing guns at the door to the House chamber and eyes peering in the windows that had been broken into those doors that come into the House. This is the door where the president would normally enter for the State of the Union address, to kind of give you perspective. Mm-hmm. We were still in the chamber. In fact, I was maybe 25 feet from that point. Later, the great men and women of the Capitol Police and Sergeant-at-Arms staff were successful in evacuating us from the Capitol to a secure location, and then that's where we remained. The members who were on the House floor, there were about 100 members or so, I would guess, who were on the House floor at the time that this happened, on the House floor or in the gallery of the House.
Were you at any time, did you feel your life was really in danger?
You know, Coleman, and I don't say this to be boastful or to minimize what happened, because it's inexcusable, the violence that occurred and the breach of the Capitol, but I frankly did not feel like I was ever in imminent danger. Clearly, you know, you can't help but wonder what's going to unfold, but, you know, when you have, many armed officers guarding you, and, you know, of course, not knowing the full measure of what was happening, I felt like they probably were going to be able to protect us. And indeed they were, and indeed the House chamber was never breached.
Okay, what do you anticipate? We've got, of course, the House did, and we could talk about that for a minute. There was the vote for impeachment yesterday. All the Democrats, I believe, and a few Republicans, and 200 and something to 100 and something. I remember the vote, but it was a vote to impeach the president. Talk about that a little, if you will.
Sure, and I think it was there were around 200 or so Republicans voting no, all Republicans voting no, and a mix of Democrats and 10 Republicans voting yes. I voted no. It was not, by contrast to the other vote we've talked about, that was not a difficult vote in my estimation. I think the Constitution sets forth, and history and precedent set forth the standard for impeachment, and frankly, both the underlying allegations and the process that were followed don't meet that standard. I'm deeply fearful, frankly, Mr. Walker, that throughout the first 231 years of our republic, impeachment has been extraordinarily rare. I fear now, and I think I said this to you a little more than a year ago, or last year on the show, that I fear now in the next 230 years, and we hope the Republic survives for 231 more years, and I trust that it will, but I fear that impeachment will become commonplace because the Democrats, in their haste to settle scores from 2016 and to pursue kind of a almost mindless impeachment of the president, have now impeached this president twice. This second impeachment was done without the hearing of any evidence, without any of the normal process and procedure that accompanies an impeachment. Some would say because it needed to be done quickly, but we know that it cannot be completed before this president peacefully leaves office. And so it is purely a political statement exercise on the part of the Democrats to impeach the president at this juncture, and I think is, frankly, nothing short of a shameless abuse of the impeachment process as set forth in the Constitution.
Well, let me ask what you expect from now until next Wednesday, when the presidential change takes place, scheduled to be, of course. What do you anticipate from now to then, and then next Wednesday itself? What are you looking for?
Well, I think based on every signal that we've gotten from the president, both before January 6th and since, he will participate in the peaceful transfer of power, and so I don't expect there to be a lot of controversy other than manufactured controversy. So I think the president has announced that he would not attend the inauguration, and while that is not unprecedented, obviously it's not the common practice in recent years. Our own Andrew Johnson of Tennessee did not attend the inaugural of his successor, General Grant, and so it's not without precedent. But and there have been others. So I think that hopefully cooler heads will prevail. The Democrats have accomplished, this partisan political exercise that they've undertaken to kind of get the president one more time before he leaves office, and so I don't expect a lot of excitement. I think that the inauguration will go off without a hitch, albeit under probably more significant security measures than have been, present in the past. So I think I hope I'm right about this. Frankly, I think the Senate should never take this up. We'll see what they decide to do. The American people have problems that they need us to address in the Congress, and so this diversion of time and resources from solving problems like getting us through the final stages of the COVID-19 crisis, those should be getting our attention. The almost $28 trillion in debt that this country has accumulated, much of it in the last year as we've tried to make folks whole who have been harmed by the government-imposed shutdowns in the economy. Lots of work. And so I hope we will get to that. I hope the Democrats will put this kind of partisan bickering beside them and move on to actually doing the work of the American people.
Well, of course, the Democrats control the House, not as will in the next Congress, but not as much as before. Do you see more some reconciliation or working together better with the numbers of Democrats and Republicans more equal than they've been for the last 2 years?
Well, I hope so, Mr. Walker. I hope so. However, I would have to say that the vote yesterday and just the step of pursuing this kind of mindless, hasty impeachment exercise is not a good signal. But as you point out, the Democrats retain control of the House, although it is a very slim majority, the slimmest majority in the House since the World War II era. And so I think that, they should be mindful of that. On the Senate side, as everyone is, I think, aware, we have an actual 50-50 tie. The last time that happened, there was a power-sharing arrangement between Democrats and Republicans in the Senate that was initiated by the Republicans. Unfortunately, yet again, we see the Democrats talk about reconciliation, but with a straight-up 50-50 tie, they have announced that they plan to just use the tie-breaking vote of the vice president and take full control of the Senate. And so just, again, one of those precedents of the past that's being swept away in the interest of pure partisan power exercise. We see from the presidential election, from the division, 50-50 division in the Senate, and from the very close division in the House, that the country is right in the middle. The American people, now that's not true in our district, it's not true in other districts that tilt the other way towards the Democrats, but the country as a whole is right in the middle, and I think there's a very strong message being sent by the American voters that they want to be governed from the middle. And, we've talked about this before, Mr. Walker. I am certainly ready to roll up my sleeves and work to compromise. I've spent my career in the private sector as a businessman and farmer. I learned a long time ago that if you get everything you want, you've probably got a deal that you shouldn't have gotten. It takes compromise to come to an agreement that serves everyone's interests fairly, and so that's what we should be doing. And so this would be, there's been, some very high-minded calls for reconciliation. The best way to achieve that, in my view, would be for the Senate to agree to share power. It would be for the president to reach across the aisle, to put, divisive politics behind, and let's figure out how we can govern from the middle where the American people are. I think if the Democrats did that, it would inure to their benefit. I think if they continue down the path they're on, then they're likely to get a rebuke from the American people in as soon as 2 years when the next elections happen. So.
Well, we have come to the end of our time here this morning. It's really nice to have you with us. We appreciate it. We're going to try to have you on at least once each quarter for the foreseeable future, and just appreciate you being with us this morning. Safe travel home, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coleman. As always, it's a privilege to represent the people of the 6th District of Tennessee, and would be welcome to come on more often if you would want to discuss any of these issues more thoroughly. But thank you for the opportunity this morning, and appreciate the good work that you all do there at WA&T.
All right. Thank you so much. That's Congressman John Rose. We'll take a break right here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:32, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford. And they've got the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitors. Pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. TDOT's been out there for a while on that stalled vehicle on 24 westbound in Haywood Lane. Hickory Street at Gallatin Pike in Madison. There's been a crash at that intersection. Spring Street at Jefferson Street, that wreck also being cleared. And 24 westbound off-ramp there at OHB. We saw that wreck getting some attention. Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies is hosting Sleep with the Sharks coming up March 27th. All the details at Ripley'sAquariumofthesmokies.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
It's a new year and new things at Bates Ford. Come check out our all-new 2021 Ford Bronco Sport, the new 21 F-150 on the sales side. On the service side, we've got the Works Vehicle Package, which includes an oil change and a tire rotation. Or you can visit us on the web at www.tonybatesford.com. That's Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer that will trade for anything that don't eat.
Today's weather will be fantastic with bright sunny skies and temperatures in the mid-50s. For your Friday, skies will be a mix of sun and clouds with highs topping out in the mid-40s. There is a slight chance of a few isolated rain showers Friday night. On Saturday, skies will be partly cloudy. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's Look at Your Forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part 2 here on this Thursday morning. We appreciate you being with us, and we certainly appreciate the Pavilion Senior Living being one of our advertisers each Thursday at this time. Heather Sadler-Gallagher is the spokesperson for the Pavilion. She is the marketing director and does a good job keeping us informed of what's going on, and she's on the phone to talk more this morning. Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a pretty nice day considering it's in the dead of winter here. A little frost this morning, but temperature, 33 or 4 maybe. How are things at the Pavilion?
Well, so I have not shared this with you or your listeners, but I'm actually the marketing director and I'm also the interim administrator right now at the Pavilion. So I got a little extra title. We had some change in staff, so I am serving our residents in that role as well. So it's been awful fun. So I get to interact with the residents a whole lot and their families. So I don't know how long I'll be interim, but I was an administrator when we opened the building, and then took another position within the company, and so now I'm back in that role. So,
okay. Interim administrator.
New prospects and all residents.
All right. Well, you have a bigger job then.
I do. So, but I get a lot of interaction with our residents. So I really like that. So, but everything's going pretty well. We are still we're all of my residents at the assisted living are off quarantine, and we've got some residents at our rehab building that are all coming off of quarantine. So we kind of feel like there's a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. We had our vaccine clinic this past week, so we feel like we're moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
But still in the midst of a pandemic and everything, we have some apartments ready to rent. Our memory care is completely full. And now we have some assisted living units that we're getting calls about. Coleman, just like I said, after the holidays,
yeah.
Our phones start ringing because people have spent more time with their loved ones and know that they need some assistance.
Well, let's talk about the vaccine. And is that made its presence your way yet? Or are you still waiting?
No, we got our vaccine. We had our vaccine clinic on Monday, and I had most all of my residents and a lot of my staff that took the vaccine. So we have our booster coming up February 8th. So we are very fortunate. I know there are a lot of other assisted livings that are still in line, but we got ours scheduled and done, and so it was a very successful, very smooth process.
Well, that's good to know, and I guess maybe that's a little reassuring for the people who are hoping to get that and have better protection.
They are, and I didn't have any residents that had any issues besides a sore arm, and I'll be honest, they were all excited, ready to get it, get it done and get it over with. So I've never seen a more anxious crew to get a shot, but they were. It was.
Well, it's good.
Really a sight to see.
Yeah, good that has gone well, and you've got that behind you now. One more, and then that will make the vaccination complete.
That's right. We're still waiting on direction. I've got this call from a lot of our families, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners are wondering, well, what does that do to open up senior livings. We're still waiting. The Department of Health gives us guidance on that, and they set out their policies and procedures. I listen to a call every week with the Department of Health, and they are still waiting to kind of let the phase one get through before any guidance comes out, and everybody start with their round two. So I anticipate that the Department of Health has got a plan to share with us probably mid-February.
All right, we kind of did it maybe a little bit backwards today. I didn't even mention your location, your telephone number, or your website, but we want to do that before you go this morning. The location, of course, is just north of Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital at 1409 Medical Center Drive. And if you go to the hospital, if you were planning to go to the emergency room, instead of that, go one street further. That's the easiest way to describe how to get there. And you'll find the pavilion down there on the right on Medical Center Drive. And, of course, Heather's phone number is a pretty easy one, too, 615-444-5556. And your website. I'll go ahead and give it here.
ThePavilionSeniorLiving.com.
ThePavilionSeniorLiving.com. Right. We both give it. Well, I know a lot of people call you. A lot of people go to the website, and you are very available. And I'm sure you welcome any person that is seeking information, needing help, wanting to check out what's available for them at the pavilion.
That's exactly right. So, yeah, give us a call or go online or send us an email or fill out a form, and we'll get to you. So we'll try to make it as easy as possible.
Well, we hope you have a great week, and we'll talk with you hopefully again next Thursday about this time.
That sounds good. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Heather Sadler-Gallagher, and that is, she is now the interim administrator as well as marketing director for the Pavilion Senior Living. 20 minutes before the hour, and as I mentioned earlier, we kind of doing things in reverse order this morning to accommodate Congressman John Rose. He was in Washington on his way home, actually, and at the airport, and he may be on the plane ready to come back by now. But right here live in studio this morning, Sergeant P.J. Hardy, who is Information Officer for the Lebanon Police Department. Been a month since we've seen you, but good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm fine, and I want to thank you because you didn't hesitate at all yesterday. I didn't tell you this yesterday because I sort of asked when I left you the message, and you called me promptly back and said that's fine. But I had already told the congressman's people, yeah, we'll swap. I just knew you would.
Yeah. So what you're saying is I got an extra 30 minutes of sleep? No, I'm not going to pass that up. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, what's happened since we last? Of course, we've had the Christmas holiday, we've had New Year's, and now we're back, and weather's been pretty good so far. But one of the things we all are having to deal with, and we hear more and more people getting the COVID, and we don't like that, but it's something we have to deal with.
We certainly don't. Yeah, the numbers are still on the incline. During our Facebook Live reports, which we've changed the format to Mondays and Thursdays now, but we, we're seeing that the numbers are still on the incline. We're hoping to get that to a plateau point, and then on the steady decline. That'll be wonderful news. So, yeah, everyone just needs to continue to do what they need to do to protect themselves and protect their families. Wear a mask where appropriate, proper hand washing and social distancing and all that good stuff. So,
well, you can see we're social distancing.
I see this arrangement. This is great. I like it.
Well, Susie is very concerned about this, and she doesn't want anything to upset our apple cart, as we would say out here. We have a minimum staff, and none of us. If can you imagine? I mean, if somebody here, and so far everything has been wonderful. I don't think there's anybody that maybe, well, very little that we've had to deal with here, and I hope it can stay this way. So we are. You saw me. Maybe you didn't see me, but I barely bumped the fist of Ray Render when he walked out. And sometimes we just touch elbows or something, and don't do much shaking hands. We're socially distancing more than ever, and so far it's worked.
I tell you, it's an awkward life that we're living. You know, you get in that awkward moment where you go to throw a fist bump and then an elbow comes out. You're not really sure. It's kind of like, I don't know what the club handshake is here. What are we doing? So it gets awkward at times. But, you know, those are the things that we have to do.
How do the policemen, they greet one another? I mean, you sort of have a fraternity there in a way. I mean, y'all work together and you're like brothers and sisters, so on, but you have to social distance.
Yeah, so we've had to stop holding hands and singing "Kumbaya," but we do like to socialize. But we've had to make our changes as well. Normally, roll call happens where you gather everybody into the room at the beginning of the shift and kind of go over information and carry out the rest of your day. We've had to change that and modify it several different times over the course of this pandemic. So we are getting less face time with one another. But, you know, we understand that the bigger picture is to keep all of us safe because, quite frankly, because we do work so close together, if we get one that goes down, it's kind of a domino effect. So we've got to be very careful. Our policy has it that you have to have a mask on anytime that you get out in public. The good news is that for most responders, such as ourselves, we've had the opportunity to get the vaccine. I myself have it, so if that makes you feel better, although I haven't got my second dose of it. And so again, and I think I've mentioned this before, in this world, it's kind of hard to know what is right and what is wrong, and because the information out there seems to be varied. So some are saying the one vaccine, one shot is all you need. We're going back for a second, so who knows? But anyway, we're doing everything that we can.
Yeah, we have situations like this. There's a lot of information and a lot of, maybe we'd call it disinformation, and sometimes you don't know what to believe. But one of the things I do like about this, it is a voluntary thing. We're not forcing this on anybody who has objections, but it is becoming more readily available, although I've heard a lot of complaints about the availability, but I think they're working the kinks out, and people will be patient. Maybe everything will be okay.
Yeah, and just like the information, it's not always because people are intending to put that information out, but it's ever so changing, and situations change, and we're all just trying to work our way through this thing. And so, if no other time in history, patience is absolutely a must in our times right now. Just have some patience and kind of work through the situations, and just know at the end of the day, we're everyone, ourselves, health department, you guys, everyone is trying to do the best they can to keep people safe.
All right, Sergeant P.J. Hardy with us. We'll take a break here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Absolute Kubota and Rental Exmark. Large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand, bought 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still running slow into normal on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area, coming in from Rutherford County from an earlier stalled vehicle. Ezel Pike at Antioch Pike was blocked at that intersection a few minutes ago. That's Ezel Pike at Antioch Pike. Highway 70 at Old Charlotte Pike. 2 cars are involved at that intersection within the last few minutes. Check out the Andre Chicken Sandwich, now available at Prince's Hot Chicken. Online, princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
I do a lot of thinking while I'm driving. I think about my kids, my grandkids, and my insurance business. When's the last time you thought about having your insurance program reviewed? This is John Bryan with THW Insurance. We're an independent, trusted choice insurance agency representing several top-rated insurance companies like Westfield Insurance Company. Give me a call at 615-443-3849 for a no-obligation review of your current insurance plan. THW Insurance Services, serving Lebanon and Wilson County for decades.
Defensive drivers pay attention to their surroundings. They take precaution to keep their passengers and others on the road safe. We can all be defensive drivers during COVID-19 pandemic. Today, I ask you to take the necessary precautions to keep yourselves and others safe from COVID-19. Wash your hands, social distance, wear a mask, stay at home when you're sick. Living a cautious life doesn't mean that you live in fear. It just means that you care for others. Wilson County Cares. This has been a public service announcement from the Wilson County Mayor's Office.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. And again, thanks to Sergeant B.J. Hardy, making his presence here on the second half this morning. We really just kind of talked about social distancing and what's going on with COVID-19, but what else is going on? We're 2021. I don't know what, if any, changes. Y'all are pretty much under one roof now and have been for a few months. And we've had a little snow, but little cold weather, but so far the winter hadn't been all that bad.
Not all that bad.
How have things been at the police department?
Well, they've been different. It's been wonderful to be under one roof. We've only have one of our divisions that is still remote, and will probably stay remote for a little while. But otherwise, all the other three were able to come back under one roof. We're enjoying our new facility. There's still some kinks to work out, little things that need to be either repaired or finished off. But otherwise, we're really enjoying it. Just like everybody else, we're reinventing ways to navigate through this whole time. One of the unique things that we're doing Tuesday and then today, Mr. Jeremy Lakeman, who's a criminal justice teacher at the Lebanon High School, he is holding his classes, his online Zoom classes, at our police department. So we're having guest speakers from each of the divisions come on and talk to the students. It's kind of a virtual field trip is what we're calling it. And so that's been a real fun process. We'll have one more day of that today and several speakers today. So, it's a constant reinventing the wheel, and if we can't get out physically to be with the community, we'll find other ways to engage with them. So it's been a unique time. It's been a fun time. Some struggles, but otherwise we're doing really well.
Well, we, of course, have a new mayor now, and I don't know if any changes have come down the line, but I guess I can ask you that. What's the situation with the new mayor? Anything to report?
Well, we absolutely appreciate Rick Bell. He's a wonderful mayor. We have experience with him when he was on the city council. He's always been a supporter of the police department, so we couldn't be any happier. We miss Bernie, but we look forward to the things that we know that Mayor Bell is going to be able to accomplish during his time as mayor. Really, as far as changes, not a lot of changes as of right now. We just there is communication constantly between the mayor and the chief, and I think it's going to be a great working relationship.
I want to take you and our audience back to the morning of December 25th, Christmas Day, when they had the bombing in Nashville. Now, I don't guess there was a lot of I don't think that would have affected us here maybe directly, but probably some indirect effects. Talk about that a little bit and what that was like when you heard about it. How does that affect our local police department? When you have something like that, and of course there was a lot of unknowns in the beginning there. They kind of got things worked out, figured out who did it and all of this, but how did that affect y'all?
So it was very strange. That morning I happened to be up a little bit early, and I actually heard the blast. Now, I live pretty close to 109, and so I was thinking to myself, it's Sunday. What? Because I thought initially it was just a construction crew blasting, because, there's lots of development going on around, and I thought, on a Sunday, that's crazy. And it wasn't until a little bit later I turned the television on and realized what had happened, and that the timing was exactly the time that I heard it. So it was kind of crazy that morning. At our department, we didn't have a huge impact. Of course, we have very fortunate over the course of the years. Chief Mike Justice has done an amazing job with his previous experience with the Emergency Services Unit. We are one of those agencies that other agencies can call upon and rely upon for specialized units. We have one of the most amazing canine divisions. We have 6 dogs, 6 canine officers that, for an agency our size, is probably a little bit more than most. But we've got bomb detection dogs, we've got tracking dogs. So we were put on notice that we may be needed. So fast forward a couple days later, we did get a kind of a direct impact. there was an individual in Rutherford County that decided to drive around playing a message on the PA system in this box truck that was similar to that of the bombing incident in Nashville. And so we were deployed on that, our K-9 unit. Once we got out onto the scene, though, because of the messaging that was given, we felt like it was too dangerous to put our K-9s in direct contact with the vehicle, because at the time we really didn't know what it was. And so Tennessee Highway Patrol came with their bomb squad and their robot, and they were able to check the vehicle out, and there was nothing in it. Why this individual chose to do that, other than who knows? But so yeah, it's we have a lot of things that we offer at our little agency here that the other agencies around us really kind of call upon us and depend on us to help out in situations. And if were needed in Nashville, we would have been right there. So yeah, just again, all part of the strange times that we're living in.
Well, we hear. I mean, it is strange times, and so many people are not able to get out to have the social meetings, gatherings that we've had before. Some people are kind of withdrawn. We hear people. I'm just wondering if you have to deal with threats of suicide, people wanting to harm themselves, is maybe domestic issues. Have they progressed here in the last few months?
So mental health is a definite component in everything that is going around, and it is something that we have to keep an eye on. To quantify an increase in call response, I can't say one way or the other. I can say that it exists. We've had several suicide and suicide attempts that we've had to respond to. Now, whether they're related to the current times that we're living in, I can't really say. We're still struggling with the overdose situation here in our community, as is every community. Again, I know I've mentioned it before. I wish there was some type of way to change the verbiage, because when you say overdose, for the majority of the population, they're thinking in the old term. Back in the 70s and 80s, when someone would overdose, it just meant that they took too much of something where their system couldn't handle it, and they passed. In today's world, it's not about quantity, and it's not about just your true hardened folks that are in drug addiction. It can be the first time user, literally, because the products that are being put out there, the illicit drugs that are being put out there, are tainted with materials that will kill you, and so that's where the problem lies. And again, it's kind of unfortunate that we use the term overdose, because it makes it sound like one thing, but really it's poisoning as far as we're concerned. It's the tainting of these drugs, and we've had a lot of situations where these aren't normal drug users, or either recreational, or might be the first time they experimented with something, and unfortunately it was their last time. So how do we get a handle on that? It's a much bigger issue than our little department here can handle, other than getting information out, letting folks know that there are resources. If they already have an addiction, I know it kind of sounds crazy to reach out to a police department if you're in a situation that you're have drug addiction, but we ask everyone to please reach out to us, because we want to give them the resources. We're not clinically trained to help them, but we know a lot of people. That's part of our job, is to know people and know resources. We can put them in the hands of folks that can help them. Everything from mental health to physical health to life training, just anything that they need to get them away from that, because the next time might be their last time. And so we and for those family members that are affected by someone in the family or friends that they know, please reach out to us. It's not about the law enforcement aspect of it. It's about us educating folks that this is the most dangerous time in the history of our world when it comes to drug addiction, because it's really like playing roulette.
Well, I think the people you're wanting to prosecute and lock up and this sort of thing are those that are out here selling these illegal
Absolutely.
drugs. And they, as far as I'm concerned, they ought to be put under the jail and throw away the key or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other people need help.
Absolutely. And what's we were I haven't verified we were the first, but we were one of the first communities here in Tennessee that had a successful conviction of someone that we found to have supplied the lethal dosage to some individuals. And so we've been very successful with that. We've had one conviction so far, and I believe we have 2 or 3 others in the court process right now that we feel very confident that we can do.
Sergeant, we got a minute and a half, and let's I don't know how we're going to conclude on a positive note, but I want to leave people with a smile on their face and not a frown this morning if possible.
Well, let's see. Tax time. No, well, unless you're getting a refund, that could put a smile on your face. But just know that we're all working together. And another day on this earth. If you wake up another day, that's a gift in itself. And we're halfway towards spring, so we can look forward to that. But there's a ton of things to look forward to. Hopefully, the kids will get back in school again and see a resemblance of normalcy. But just keep smiling, keep plugging away, and we'll make it through this.
Right. Be careful. Social distance. All these things that you hear about, don't take them lightly. We're all in this together as far
Absolutely.
as trying to be safe and be kind to our neighbors and this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well said.
Well, I certainly appreciate your being here and your cooperation with us to take the second half today, but hopefully next month we'll see you on the first half on the second Thursday in February.
We will see you then.
After Groundhog's Day.
Oh boy. Boy.
That is it for a Thursday. I hope you'll join us tomorrow for the Friday edition of Coleman and Company. And until then, I wish you a tremendous day.